him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Smack-a-magabe, it is time for the only news that matters. And Van Halen 3 producer Mike Post has revealed that Eddie Van Halen had to take over on drums in place of his brother Alex during the recording of the album. The 1998 record was the only Van Halen record to feature Gary Cherone on lead vocals and was the band's first commercial failure. Mike Post, who is best known for writing theme songs for famous TV shows such as Rockford Files, Hill Street Blues, and NYPD Blue, agreed to work on the record to help his friend Eddie maintain his sobriety. He said, "I knew the record wasn't really good. I knew the record was kind of crappy, but it's the way Ed wanted it." And in a new interview with The Hustle, Post explains that Alex was going through a messy divorce at the time and had a substance abuse battle that kept him from playing his usual standards. It was one of the worst periods in his life, and he was drinking a lot. And he just wasn't Al. He wasn't playing like Al. Eddie decided the best plan would to be for him to take over on the drums so Alex can focus on his health and getting his divorce settled, and asked Post to relay this difficult message to his brother. "I said, Al, I got to do something here really difficult. This is really going to be a hard conversation. And I just ask you from the bottom of my heart to stay calm and use your logic and your kindness." After making it clear that he considered Alex one of the three best rock drummers ever born, alongside John Bonham and Keith Moon, Post made his case. Said, "Al, you're in the middle of a divorce, you're really fucked up, and you're not playing like Alex. You are not playing like you. And my job is to get your little brother to do the record sober and to facilitate that. So you got to sit down and concentrate on yourself and concentrate on your divorce and concentrate on getting rid of all that substance abuse. You don't want to stop your little brother from doing something that's very different from it. He has tremendous struggles. Be a big brother here. Put yourself second and let this kid do what he wants to. He's earned it." After some tense moments, Alex agreed to go back from the project. Post doesn't specify how many Van Halen 3 songs feature Eddie on drums. Happily, Alex was able to work through his issues in time for the band to tour in support of the album. It didn't take him long. It took him 4, 5, or 6 months, and he was great. And that started rehearsing, and God, Al just sounded like Al, and it was just fucking great. Twice as good as what Ed played on the record. All right, there you go. Man, I had no idea Eddie can even play drums that good. Now, I don't like Van Halen 3, and I thought Eddie sounded so weird on it. But I don't recall hearing the drums thinking, man, that don't sound like Al. It just, to me, I don't know, I gotta go listen to it again, but if memory serves me correct, listen to that album. The only thing that stood out, really, was the bad sound, the bad tone Eddie had on the guitar. I didn't like that sound at all. It bothered the hell out of me, and Eddie's my favorite guitar player. But hearing that sound of guitar, and plus, you know, the songs I thought were just terrible. And later on, Gary Cherone actually said, you know, the album was rushed, or, you know, he wished he could have gone out and done a tour with Van Halen before doing Van Halen 3. It feels like, you know, a band that didn't really, you know, tour or anything, making an album, and it kind of, he doesn't look fondly back at that album, though. Yeah, I'm sure he'll say there's a few tunes. I'm sure some of you'll say there's a few good tunes. That album is terrible. There's not one damn good song on it. But I will say this. I'm not an Extreme fan. I'm not a Gary Cherone fan. I'm not a Van Halen with Cherone fan. But I will say, I do enjoy Gary Cherone's voice way more than Sammy Hagar. And I've seen people that, that try to, like, when somebody's bashing on Hagar, people will come out and say, yeah, well, you think Hagar's bad. Well, what about Gary Cherone, huh? I'm like, what about him? The guy was better. He was a better singer, and he wanted to do those David Lee Roth deep tracks. They did, like, Mean Street. What else did they do? They did a lot of the early Van Halen stuff that I think they did On the One, Unchained, a lot of it, Hey, you wouldn't see that at a Vangina show. You go to a Vangina show, you'll probably get a shitty version of Running with the Devil, and that's it. Panama maybe, or Jump. It's not Van Halen, man. This farce that was with Sammy Hagar was not Van Halen. I mean, just imagine this, everybody. This is how I feel. Van Halen was the most kick-ass band ever. I'd never seen a live band as badass as Van Halen. They were the cream of the crop. I don't care, what anybody says. Okay. Some of you may say, well, Queen was the best, Zeppelin was the best, AC/DC with Bond. All right. I'll give you all the benefit of the doubt because I didn't see those bands. But every band I saw after Van Halen was nowhere near the original Van Halen. I saw the Women and Children first. I saw Fair Warning. The greatest show I ever saw in my life was Fair Warning. Diver Down Tour and 1984. Greatest 4 shows I ever saw in my life. Nothing came close. It's the way they gripped that audience, man. I've never seen a band do that since. And then that same band comes back with Ronald McDonald and ends up being the worst band I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a worse band live. They number one, they eliminated all the Van Halen music. You Really Got Me, which is really a Kink song. I'm talking about when I went to go see the 5150 show. For free, by the way. I didn't pay, and I heard 5150, hated it. Was not a Van Hagar fan from day one. But Eddie has always been my favorite guitar player, and my friend offered me a free ticket. I said, I'll go because BTO was opening. I dig BTO. And I wanted to see Eruption. All right? So I went to the show, and it was terrible. I mean, it was so bad. All they did was play 5150 crap, some solo Sammy Hagar crap, rock and roll from Led Zeppelin, I think Panama, and You Really Got Me is like the only old Van Halen, and of course it was terrible, but it's just amazing how the greatest band I ever saw in my life ended up later being the worst band I ever saw in my life. But I saw the 5150 show, I saw the Oh You Wait One Too, because I was there on default. I wanted to see Metallica at the Monsters of Rock show. And my friend drove me there, so I had to stay for Vangina. But I was all the way up front for Metallica and the Scorpions and Dawkins. And then I went up to the nosebleeds for Vangina, and that show was even worse than the 5150 show. I was like, damn, these guys are... it was just pathetic, And then I never went to go see them until Dave came back. I didn't even go to the Van Cherone show. And it came down here. A friend of mine went, said it was awesome. How they played all the old deep tracks, Romeo Delight and shit like that. But, which is cool, and he sounds cool singing them. But, man, Gary Cherone is very hard for me to look at, though. His moves, his stage presence, his whole thing was just, I don't know, at one point he like bends over and grabs his own ass, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? Swiveling his hips, and I don't know, man. I've never seen, the closest was that Adam Lambert guy. But even Adam Lambert, which I will say is worse than Sharon, but not as animated. Sharon's just a freak. I don't know how he is now at Extreme, but man, during that Van Halen 3 tour, where I saw that Pro Shot show in Australia, holy crap, man. Settle down, Beavis. That was terrible. But anyway, there you go. I didn't know Eddie played drums on Van Halen 3. I had no idea. Did you know? Anyway, thank you all for watching. And Mike Post also was a horrible decision to get him as a producer, because the guy did TV theme songs. You know, he did what the hell's that about? Well, but whatever, man. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen, the greatest guitar player ever, in my opinion. And again, thank you all for watching The Only News That Matters. And leave your comments below what you think of, you know, Eddie playing drums. What do you think of the Van Halen 3 album? Do you like some songs like Year of the Day or some crap like that? You know, leave it below, you know. I hate it, but it's cool that you like it. And like this video, because if you do, it's good for the YouTube algorithms. And please subscribe if you haven't. I would really appreciate that. And stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.